Welcome to Weekly Geek Speak. I'm Andrew.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Steve.
And we're a weekly podcast which talks TV, film, movies and more. You can find us on Twitter at Weekly Geek Speak, give us a follow, and Facebook, www.facebook.com/Weekly Geek Speak, and the hub of everything we do is weeklygeekspeak.com, where you can find blogs and the podcast and some other stuff. A couple of blogs have gone up, a couple of reviews. Welcome to Jen, who has done a review for Still Life, which we mentioned last week, and also Lucy has reviewed Let's Kill Ward's Wife, which is a great, interesting film starring Turk from Scrubs.
Donald Faison.
And Night Owl.
Patrick Wilson.
There you are. And also, we are on YouTube, where you can listen to the podcast, as well as Spreaker, Stitcher, Podcastland. And Scott, there's more on YouTube, isn't there?
Yes, me and Dan have a show called Amusement Arcade, where we play games. As you may glean from the title, we play old games, we play new games, we play middle-of-the-range games, we play multiple games.
Got a couple of series within your channel at the moment, haven't you? Got Hyrule Warriors,
Sonic 3 and Knuckles. We recently played Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Soon we're going to be playing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, the video game.
Wow.
And there's a sex doll game coming.
Okay.
All right.
Best I can say about that.
Yeah.
And more games soon. The beauty is I don't know what we're going to play till we turn up and go, what do you want to play? So if you want us to play something and tell us, it might help, because it saves us the 10-minute conversation.
And as you heard last week, the brilliant people of the Yorkshire Cosplay Convention were giving their views on what we should play. You do the same on Twitter at Weekly Geek Speak. And coming up today on the podcast, we are talking the Daredevil TV show, which has just started on Netflix. I'm sure you've seen it. We've got some of your views, and we'll be giving ours as well. We've got the news from Steve and a comic conference. But right now, that dropped only a few hours ago, we all watched. I thought we would have a chat about it. Is the Ant-Man trailer, the latest Ant-Man trailer. We got a message from @ABHPod, the Anywhere But Here podcast, saying the new Ant-Man trailer's dropped. That's what actually alerted us to it. And who's the yellow guy? It looks like Wasp, which won't be good. It is actually Yellow Jacket.
Yep.
But I think we can safely say, to title this conversation, it looks a lot better than the last trailer.
Worlds better. The first one was such a generic, by the numbers, we've got a superhero film coming, we'll tell you nothing about it. Just was bland and unappealing. This one was, it's going to be humorous. There's a specific reason we're doing this film. It's different. This is why it's different. And just loads of stuff going on, loads of effects. My excitement went up tenfold at the very least, which is what a trailer should do, I feel. Not derail all excitement you have because you're predisposed to liking it just because. The way I was with the first one.
No.
It looks great. I'm really looking forward to it.
Does look really good. And I think I said to you, Andrew, afterwards, it's like when the Guardians trailer came along, it felt like it was quite funny, it showed quite a bit, and this one almost does the same, but it's a superhero that not many people know about. Personally, I don't know anything about him, but I'm guessing there's a hell of a lot more that they've not shown. But the humour looks the same as Guardians. It's that sort of lead up to the little one-liner that they had in the Guardians trailer. Definitely interested. Looked very good, and the effects look great when he's tiny.
It certainly got. It showed me that they feel they can get away with anything now, and I think they can. It just looks so out there, but works. They've made some completely ridiculous concept work, just like Rocket Raccoon really worked, and now they're showing, look, trust in the comic property, because it works in comic form, it can work in movie form, and I like that. I like the way it looks. It looks fun. It looks light. It shows that not everything has to be a bombastic explosion fest. This is a lot more one-on-one combat, and tiny combat with that humour with what's actually going on. The Thomas train going into it. It's really funny, and
when it comes back from like how epic it all seems. It cuts back to see how
Just a
small,
little-
and it's just a train hit. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And that just really shows what it is. I think.
And it can do that 10 times in the film for me, and it'll still be, because that's
Yeah.
how ludicrous it is. It
Yeah,
needs
yeah,
to. It knows all the way through.
And you can't make like a gritty, serious Ant-Man.
Mm.
It's inherently sounds ridiculous. You have to bring that Marvel charm and tongue in cheek to it to put it over, don't you? And they know how to do that. They've done it millions of times.
I have to say though, the villainry does look very similar to the first Iron Man movie. With you've got a costume, I've made one better.
I am more Ant-Man than you now, Ant-Man. Yeah. Well, the Yellow Jacket is because Hank Pym was the original Ant-Man, and he became Ant-Man, which became Giant Man, and he eventually became Yellow Jacket. He kind of he's had multiple personas and stuff. So in this one, they've kind of made Hank Pym the sort of creator, but they've given it Scott Lang to be Ant-Man, and Yellow Jacket's going to be like the evil other person who gets the other thing. So I like that.
Works.
But it is a bit, all right, we played it out. The generic villains, the split of the hero, I am Ant-Man than you. But it'll work for this, because it's just about establishing him, I think, this film, and if it's fun and funny. I mean, Ronan the Accuser's not the best villain in the world, but he serves a function in a great comic book movie in Guardians.
Let's be honest, Jeff Bridges' Ironmonger isn't great, but it serves its
That's
purpose.
one of the best Marvel films. Sometimes the villain doesn't... This is something the Spider-Man movies always struggle with. Like, a good film, the villain's almost incidental sometimes. I think it'll be good, though. I think it'll be interesting.
It's gone from me feeling quite meh to actually going, all right, this is going to be fun. In fact, only minutes before we got that and checked the trailer out, we were talking about the films this year, weren't we? And we were saying, oh, that can wait, that can wait. And now actually that's bumped up about 3 places.
We were talking about how quick we should do a review after the film, and I went, well, it's only Avengers and Star Wars. I feel like we need to be on the pulse. Everything else, maybe wait a week. And then I mentioned Ant-Man in particular, because that's how meh I felt. And then I watched the trailer, and now I'm like, nope, day one, let's do it. Yeah.
All over it.
Let's move on to our intro game. Every other week we play Recommend, Decommend. It's a fun game we play, but Steve needs to tell us a little more about it. And new listeners, what is Recommend, Decommend?
So Recommend, Decommend is where we bring all the films we've watched between recordings. We pitch in our highest rated film for Recommend and explain why we liked it and what was good about it for the others to vote on. The Decommend, we do the opposite. We bring the worst film that we've seen and we say why it's the worst film, and the other two vote on whether they agree or disagree, hopefully with a clear winner and loser, and if not, we pitch it to you, the listener. I think that's
Pretty much it.
pretty much it.
And I'm going to start this week.
Cool.
Me. I've watched a couple of 8 out of 10s. I'm going to pick one of them. A couple I feel we spoke about before or don't need recommending, and the one that I actually want to go for is I often watch indie horror films, and often is the case that I watch them and I go, oh. It's almost like they're trying to be something bigger than what they are, but they're restrained by their budget. The best ones are the ones that embrace their budget and make it what they are. I think Manborg, and wearing the t-shirt right now, is a great example of an indie film making it its own on its small budget. It knows its restraints, so it went for it. This is similar in that sense, but a lot more of a serious, normal kind of film, and it's called Thale, or Tal, is actually how you pronounce it. It's a Norwegian film, and the story is about 2 crime scene clearer-uppers, if you like, after the police have investigated and everything. They clear up the dead bodies, and there's this guy, and we start on him throwing up because he's just started on the job. Anyway, we go to their next job with them, and as they're clearing up, they find a room underneath the room that they're in, a secret passageway, and then they go down, they find a bed down there, and it's very kind of creepy and fritzly, like someone's been kept down here. And when they find who's been kept down there, it seems to be a woman who doesn't speak and doesn't say anything, and it turns out that she is a kind of mythical creature, and there's these other mythical creatures out there, her sisters they call her, a lot more animal-like, a bit like Pan from Pan's Labyrinth, who are trying to get her back, basically, because somebody's been keeping her and experimenting on her and trying to work out what she is. And it's really well done. It's really interesting and completely unexpected when you scroll down the list of horror films. It's more of a fantasy than a horror. Really interesting, and I think Norway, when we saw with like Trollhunter and things, they've got a fantastic fairy tale history. You know, there's a lot of tales and magic and things, and I really like that. And this film does it really well. It's really interesting. Look into a weird bit of fantasy that isn't normally covered and things.
Like that rich mythology. Is it a new film?
It came out a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And it must have done the indie circuits and things. It's completely. I've seen it a couple of times on streaming places. I know it's on Amazon Prime at the moment. It probably is somewhere on Netflix or somewhere. But do seek it out if you're interested in that kind of thing, like fairy tales, a bit of horror elements in there, but mostly a really good budget film.
Cool.
And I think I'm recommending it because it used its budget to its advantage and made a really interesting short character. Kind of a creature study in a way, more than anything. Cool. Worth a watch. Good. 8 out of 10. Definitely a good film that people should seek out, because I would have never come and only because I got fed up of scrolling. I thought, fine, I'll watch that, and there we go. Great film.
That's why I can't go on Netflix. It becomes a 2-hour. What's on Netflix? Oh, that's cool. Now I know everything on Netflix. Yeah. I'm going to go to YouTube.
So let's move to Steve, who I know had some issues this week.
Like you, I've watched 10 films, which is much better than last week. I'm the other week. All of which scored very highly. Few we've given quite a bit of airtime to, and some I want to bring up, but I'll 3-word review those next time. The one I've gone with is a film called Blue Ruin, and I've just got from 2013.
And we call it Bluein.
Bluein, you can. I'll read the IMDb thing, but a mysterious outsider's quiet life is turned upside down when he returns home to his childhood to carry out an act of vengeance. Proving himself as an amateur assassin, he winds up in a fight to protect his family. Very much Dead Man's Shoes-esque. One that I've scrolled past quite a few times on the streaming, and I was watching it with James. Should we watch that? Neither of us knew anything about it, but gritty, dark, well filmed, interesting character study, and just really nice to see something that kind of film is being made, because you get Dead Man's Shoes and things like that are very cult and iconic and different, and so it's nice to see that there's other people out there making films like this. But it's got Devin Rattray, who played Buzz in Home Alone, and he's really good in it. So yeah, it was just a really good, strong, dark, interesting film. Sort of twists and turns, and from the opening 5 minutes, you sort of thrown into this. What? It's like picking up a book and reading it from the middle.
Okay.
It's all flat. It's kind of done in flashback. So yeah, it's really worth a watch, and that's my recommend.
Blue Ruin. Scott, what are you bringing to the party?
I also trawled through Netflix and I watched Harmontown, which is the documentary about Dan Harmon, who's the creator of Community. And it's a documentary that follows him after he got fired from his own show. He decided to take his podcast on the road and embark on a tour, and it just follows him on this tour. The timing of it's quite serendipitous to make it interesting subject matter, but it's really good just because he's a naturally really funny man, as you might imagine. But it's a really honest, raw documentary that presents him quite warts and all, in that he's not perfect, none of us are, he has issues, he's very self-destructive. It's just fascinating to watch him take this thing on the road and what it gives him, and the plates he juggles, and it's just interesting. Do you know what I mean? Especially because I love Community, and obviously we're a podcast, so I find it fascinating from that bent as well, just to see where being like him takes you sometimes, and how it's you because you glamorise those sort of jobs, don't you?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to create a show on television
to get paid lots of money and
and to be able to do nothing but be a podcaster and be a writer?
Yeah.
And, it's like anything. it's a hard slog, isn't it? And so I found it quite interesting, sweet, honest, raw. It's a good watch.
Living the dream. So, I vote first. I have Blue Ruin, or Bluin, and Harmontown. Blue Ruin sounds interesting. I'd like to know more about it. Definitely something I would watch, perhaps on a scroll through. They're both three are scroll throughs on Netflix. So this is your scroll through recommend.
Yeah.
But from the subject matter alone, I mean, I've tried watching Community. I don't dislike it. It's just something I never jumped on board with. But a study in someone who wrote it and the podcasting and things, it's got an invested interest of mine. Sounds like I like a good documentary as well. So it sounds like something I would watch. And if again it comes down, because I haven't seen either, to place them on the Netflix, not on the table, but put them next to each other on the Netflix Max or whatever it's called, and Netflix is going, ooh, these are the two I'm recommending, then I would probably go with Harmontown. So therefore my vote goes to Harmontown, which means Scott votes next. You have Tarley and Blue Rain, so it's a Ruin, sorry.
Tarley.
Tal.
It sounds interesting. I kind of like the atmosphere provided in a lot of like Nordic films and TV shows, because it's usually a darker bent. And you sold it incredibly well. Would I watch it? Not on my own, left to my own devices, probably not. But would I enjoy it? Probably I would if someone forced me. But the same kind of goes with yours. So it's a very tough one, because I've not seen either, and well, it's up for debate whether I ever will.
But how have we recommended them to you?
Yeah.
You
play on that.
We sold them.
You sold yours really well. I liked the premise. I kind of like creature feature character study thing. Like, I don't profess to be the biggest horror fan in the world, but I the ones I do like either quirky, funny, or have a particular bent to them, and that sounded like it may do. So I am leaning towards yours, Andrew. But Steve, you have 1 minute to maybe sway my vote.
I don't think there's a lot else I can say other than without giving anything away, which is why I didn't say a lot the first time. But it's a strong, gritty drama that draws you in right from the opening, and it's short, sweet, to the point. It doesn't do anything like, it doesn't draw any scenes out. It doesn't make you go, oh, is this nearly finished? It does what it does in a short space of time, and it does it very, very well. Like I say, it's nicely filmed, it's well acted, it's a good script, and it was one of those at the end, like, really glad I watched that.
It sounds good, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah? Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll go with Tal.
Tal. So Steve votes now for the winner, Harmontown or Tal. It's a creature study, or a study of a man who has interests similar to ours.
Yeah.
There you are.
Ooh.
I do not like cleaning up after the police. I stopped that ages ago.
I know you love it.
There was
buckets.
There was that time a few weeks ago, but we said we'd never.
You still owe me for the bleach.
Well, yeah.
Go on.
So, Tal sounds interesting. Like you said, the Troll Hunter, and what was the Christmas one? Forget
Rare
the
Exports.
name. Rare Exports, again.
Brilliant film.
All that crazy mythology that we've not really bought into, and that we don't get. And then when they become big, they remake them as American films. They don't work. But
did the American Troll Hunt?
It never happened. It was rumoured for ages. You've just reminded. Yeah.
I still not watched Troll Hunter, even though I got so excited when that trailer first dropped.
It's a little one note. It's very visually good.
But that's all I kind of want, because that's what charmed me when I saw it.
It almost feels like it would benefit from being like a amusement ride or something. Like you're in the car and anyway.
I need to watch it. Is that still on Netflix?
Yes.
Netflix is getting heavy plugs,
definitely is.
which it needs.
It
needs from us.
And especially as we're talking Daredevil later.
Other streaming services are available.
In fact, Tale was on Amazon Prime, which is another alternative for you.
Can't name a third one.
No, I can't.
Hulu?
Hulu? That's American.
Hulu Plus.
Hulu Plus, American.
WWE Network.
Oh, what's the Tesco Blinkbox?
HBO have started
HBO.
one, haven't they?
X-Tube.
Oh,
something different.
wait a minute.
Red Tube.
What?
Are these actual sites? I don't know. We're just spitballing. Go on, Steve.
Yeah, and you did sell it very well. It does sound interesting. However, I have seen Harmontown, and it was almost a recommend last week.
Oh, really? What do you think?
I thought it was brilliant. Jumping on board onto Community quite late over the summer, I managed to session 5 seasons. I think I mentioned on a previous podcast in a few weeks because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And having seen Harmontown, it kind of just adds to that community, I guess. But the seeing him and, like you say, it fascinating because you create a show and it's great and it gets bigger and bigger, and then you realise you're one man writing a script and directing and doing everything, and the pressures of the studio are going, well, we want a new series by next week, and you're like,
and he's just writing it on a bus.
And he's just doing it on, and it's just like, and you feel for him, and it's a gritty, interesting, I used the word gritty too many times in this podcast so far, but it's a really interesting look at how it can send you mad, and being in Hollywood isn't all it's cracked up to be, and it's really brutally honest. He takes this show on the road, and he really lets himself go. He goes on stage and he's himself, and he doesn't quite know where his stand-up's going. And
he uses it as his therapy. And
yeah, it is. He just comes on
yeah.
stage and is like, right, I don't know what I'm going to talk about tonight. We'll see what comes out of my mouth. And he bounces off the crowd, and he's a fascinating man.
And the guy that's become part of his sort of band that does the Dungeons and Dragons, and it's just such an organic, sweet story.
He just picks him up and then takes him on tour.
And makes him a minor celebrity.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
It's just incredible. So yeah, my vote's going to go to Harmontown. Fantastic documentary.
So you recommend this week is Harmontown, and an interesting stat from the Weekly Geek Speak Recommend Stat Archive is Steve has now matched your record for not winning a recommend. 7 rounds now, but he's been even worse than you, Scott. He's also gone 7 rounds not winning Decommend. Will this change today? In fact, and on the other hand, Scott has been cleaning up with the recommends, winning 4 of the last 5. Where will it go now on Decommend? And it's me first.
When did we start introducing these sports stats?
When it started making it more exciting and competitive for no reason at all.
And since you got grumpy and you started winning everything, it's not
fair.
Really
because it were 4 weeks straight of Scott, you've probably got the best film, but I'll probably bring it myself, so Andrew, you win.
But wait, I've got 7 weeks of nothing. 7 weeks of just being the middleman.
Hope you get.
How do you think that feels?
Just watch Batman after.
It's terrible. So my Decommend this week.
Right, so on Decommend, I'm going first, and this one might be a bit of a controversial one with people who are big fans of the guy, but it is actually Patch Adams. Robin Williams is an overly friendly doctor who goes into children's wards. Oh, sorry, this film is fine. It's a 90s kind of, has that twinkle twinkle kind of music.
It has that dark bit there to it.
It does, but it's overly sentimental.
I know it is.
It's so annoying, and then but that dark bit just seems to be a click of the fingers.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to spoil it, because if you haven't seen it already, then sorry. But just shut your ears off for a second.
10 seconds.
If you click that 15-second thing on iTunes, it's just like, Patch, can you come in my office? Yeah. Oh, your girlfriend died. He got murdered by a patient. Oh, okay. And it's just like that. It's like,
but
okay.
Humour is the best medicine, unless you have a serious illness.
I mean, it's a 5 out of 10, but. And it's a good film overall. It's just sometimes Robin Williams films go overly sentimental. It seems to happen a lot with him. I think he's fantastic. He's a great he was a great comedian, and there's some brilliant examples. But I think Patch Adams just goes too far with the sentimentalness. Forrest Gump could have done that. It could have, but it didn't. It kept it going. But I think it's the soundtrack which doesn't help. The fact that sometimes Robin Williams feels like he's always performing, and I don't know if that was supposed to be what came across. And also, the real Patch Adams, because it's based on a true story, said that it was a complete misrepresentation of what really happened, and that also made me go, oh, that's a shame.
Did he not put on a goofy nose and go, hello? I'm not going to treat you in any real way. Here's a balloon.
It's not a red nose. It's not a red nose. It's a tumour. Like, oh shit.
Oh.
Sorry, guys, that joke fell on fell on deaf
Tough
ears.
crowd.
Tough crowd.
But yeah, it's fine. But out of the lot, I saw quite a lot of good films. This was easily the one I enjoyed the least. It's fine. Robin Williams is brilliant, but overly sentimental for me. Missed the mark. Patch Adams.
Okay.
Steve.
So, yeah, it's almost a reluctant decommend.
I thought you were scatting.
It's almost.
It's a reluctant decommend from your MC Steve.
So, I watched the film and it was a bit shit, but it wasn't as shit, so I'm going to decommend it.
That's just freestyle skills.
Sorry.
I can't even touch. I can't even get
Wow.
it.
You won.
Drop it like it's hot,
Yes.
Steve.
Attack of the 50-foot cheerleader.
Okay. Was she exactly 50 foot?
Yeah.
Not an inch.
No, not an inch.
Where on earth did
Smaller
you
or
find this
larger.
gem?
On the streaming services available online. It sounded silly. It was a remake of a remake or something.
It sounds
It's-
like an honourable nod to the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman from
Yeah,
the 50s.
Yeah.
it's
me.
a reluctant decommend because, like things like Sharknado, it was done better than that, but it was done very tongue in cheek.
Wasn't there a 50-foot cheerleader in Dude, Where's My Car? Which stepped over the car and they were like, ooh, pants.
Probably.
Oh, maybe.
I
Maybe
try,
that's what I'm thinking.
similar to the plot of that film, I try and repress all the events of Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah, geeky science girl. They're working on a formula to
Grow cheerleaders, yeah. It's a problem we've had for years.
Now, just stop.
genetic experiment. Go on.
Geeky science girl working on a thing to do things. I want to take
Yeah.
Steve's descriptions and make them into movie voice.
Only one man can help her. Adam Sandler!
Sciencey stuffing.
Nerd girl
Yeah.
girl makes her
Tries
big.
to get on the cheerleading squad. Everyone laughs at her. It's not a spoiler. She injects herself with the stuff at the lab. Oh look, she's 50 foot. The military coming. It's silly. It's throwaway. It's not even very long. I don't think it's about an hour. And
How many gratuitous sex jokes happen when she's large?
there are 2.
Only 2?
Yes, because I thought there'd be more, but no, there were about
It's a
2.
tasteful example of
Um,
50-foot women.
it's one of these.
I'm kind of disappointed by
Yeah.
the 2. It feels like that entire plot's geared around doing
Well,
that.
there's one bit that she said I'm mentioned weaseling.
Wow.
Yeah,
Weasling's not a thing.
yeah, mentioned weaseling.
When
What do you mean by weaseling?
It's like, oh, she's so big, you'd have to go weaseling to find anything.
Oh, well, the way I originally pitched weaseling as navigating tightly through caves, you all
Yeah.
laughed at me as if it was
Yeah.
a sexual act.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So is it a thing?
yeah, apparently
Isn't it?
so.
I told you, I didn't make weaseling up.
Well, it was in a film, so it's got to be real.
Apparently. It's just real because it's a thing. I thought everyone did as a kid.
I don't know.
Did you
I'm
never
now
go
more
weaseling?
confused. It's in a film, it has to be real.
People back me up. Weaseling is a thing.
I'll give you weaseling.
We
but
can
then
take-
we
can take
always
weaseling.
think things are weird. We thought shonky was weird, and it apparently is a
Yeah.
big thing that everyone says.
It was just the context it was used made it sound like a made-up word.
But it was the correct context.
It
but
was.
weirdly, it was.
Yeah.
It was an odd moment.
It's the affectation you put on things
It's
sometimes.
come full
How?
circle.
What would the act of a shonky weaseling be? Like,
Oh.
you navigating badly.
And getting stuck.
You're just all clumsy and awkward as you're passing through the small bit of a
Caves,
cave.
yeah. I can't imagine anything worse than caving. That's
No.
why I was thinking the descent. It makes me feel claustrophobic. 'Cause
Yeah.
why do people do that as a hobby? Oh, we might not get through that little bit. You might get stuck. A rock might fall on you.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway,
No, I don't understand.
we're really derailing
Stuck
the
in the
attack of the
darkness.
50-foot cheerleader here.
I think I've said it's the effects aren't great, but it was stupidly watchable for the time of night that it was, and it's a reluctant recommend.
Did
Out of
it,
10.
5.
did it have spirit though? Let's hear it.
Did it have yeah, it was silly. It was funny. Yeah. And the fight at the end is just ridiculous.
But why would it be a decommend then? Any negatives?
All the other films I saw were a lot higher. Were all 7s or 8s.
But it's a 5, so
9.
it's average. So there must
Yeah.
be something that prevented it from being a 6.
I still think 5 always sounds really low for an average score though.
Yeah.
I know we've gone over this.
It was just
debated
just average. You got to the end and thought, good, perfect for the time of night, perfect for when I'm watching it, but actually, on any given occasion, we go, oh, it's great, you should watch this, it's really funny, because there's far better examples, not that I can think off the top of my head, of sort of silly B-movie. Like, you've mentioned Manborg and the Astron 6 things. If you're going to watch something like that, go for that. But yeah, it's alright if you like that kind of thing.
Okay, Scott.
Basically.
Decommand.
I have had somewhat of a horrendous schedule over the last few weeks. So I have only watched 2 films. But the problem is, the second film I've watched we'll talk about next week. So, my decommand's Harmontown.
Harmontown.
Wow.
Why is this decommended?
I don't know. Doing a documentary about yourself's a bit vain, isn't it? And, it's just following him, taking his podcast around. I mean, good for you.
Big what?
Big whoop. Maybe I'll listen, maybe I won't. Why do I have to watch that? I don't know. Who are you? Oh, you're in the community. I like that. Don't know. It's good.
It's tough, isn't it?
It's horrible
really,
when you've got one.
Yeah.
Film.
It's horrible.
So, I vote first. I've got Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader and Harmontown. Harmontown does sound a bit up its own arse. And I don't like that kind of selfishness in a documentary. I feel like if you're making your own documentary, you shouldn't do it about yourself. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm going with it.
Okay.
I don't know. We could become hypocrites very soon.
We could have a first and recommend Decommand. Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader is something I probably wouldn't click on unless I was probably in a room with you, and then we'd watch it because it sounds like the kind of crap you watch. Incidentally,
pretty
you did.
much.
Yeah. I can't speak. I like watching crap too. So
it's the first crap horror film I've watched, or crap film like that I've watched in a while. Because I'm savouring my time at the minute.
So I think really to avoid being a hypocrite, and because Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader is the one obviously to choose, I'm going with Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader.
Damn, I was so close.
So Steve, you vote next. You have Harmontown and Patch Adams' Red Bulbous Nose.
Well, Harmontown, you kind of almost made me wish I'd not watched it.
I know.
I thought of it from a different angle, and actually, I'm going to go back and cross my score out.
It's the power of my words.
Oh, good grief.
I can make anyone do anything.
I don't know. I might have to watch it again.
No, well, that's contrary to what I'm doing here.
I know, but
I'm decommending it. I'm telling you not to.
Shall I stop watching Community Season 6 because of it?
I mean, because if
That's
you watched it, Steve, you'd enjoy yourself for the hour and 40 minutes it is. But then what? Exactly.
Where'd you go?
Exactly, which is why you shouldn't watch it. You'll just be back to the start.
I know.
Going, what do I watch now? Why not cut out that middle bit?
Okay. I'll erase the memory of Harmontown. But I'm going to have to decommend Patch Adams.
Oh, damn it.
I'm sorry.
Damn it all.
You tried. Patch Adams I watched when it came out on VHS. It shows how long ago it's been since I've seen it. I don't really remember anything about it. Robin Williams did a lot of the sentimental, heartwarming-y type films. I think the couple that stuck with me were What Dreams May Come.
Oh, yeah.
And, but...
What's the one where he's a tramp?
Fisher King.
All of them. What?
Yeah, Fisher King.
Actually,
really
is
good.
tramp a slur?
In America, they use tramp to mean like hussy.
Yeah.
They say hobo
Vagrants
or
and hobo.
homo. Let's just say
Homeless gentleman.
Homeless
gentleman. Jack was alright as well, although a bit weird.
Situationally challenged gentleman.
Ooh, I like that. But yeah, hearing you say that makes me think,
residentially challenged it should be. Sorry.
Yeah,
that
works.
Insufferable money grabbing.
Not that's
sorry, did I?
Well,
I missed.
I thought that was
wait.
a nice.
No.
But we know they can get a job in Tramps of a Trumpet. Anyway, it's your vote, Scott.
Tramps of a Trumpet.
Have we talked about the homeless person who abused me and then said you had a nice arse afterwards?
No, we haven't.
What?
We're walking past. We've got pizza before the screening at the supermarket, which I attended for the preamble bit, and then we took the pizza across, and then the bloke was like, "Mate, can I have a bit of your pizza?" And I tried ignoring him, and he went, "I hope you get homeless, get diabetes, and die."
Nice.
And then 2 minutes later, Steve went past me pizza, and he went, "Nice horse."
Well,
So,
Can I have a piece of your pizza? I'm homeless. No. Nice ass.
so you know, I felt a bit shortchanged. And
it's the whole
Yeah.
Tinder thing all over again, but this time with homeless people.
Scott and Dan walking past, and then me and Jen literally a few minutes later.
Oh, we're sure it wasn't to Jen?
Wow.
No,
No.
I was convinced it was her, she's convinced it was me. But
I'm convinced it was you, Steve.
Scott's convinced it was me.
He has got a nice heart.
Steve has a particularly pert rear.
But we need to find out, you've got Patch Adams or Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader. Which one are you chucking in the bin?
I have watched Patch Adams. I watched it as a child. It is a bit overly sentimental, but sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing. Things can be a bit rich and sugary, but it doesn't mean it's not nice occasionally. But I've never watched it again. Never cared to. Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader is exactly the sort of film we may watch together one day, possibly.
Yeah,
But only in that circumstance.
exactly.
I imagine it's quite passable for that. I imagine I'd get the odd weird kick out of it. But I have nothing against Patch Adams, really. Apart from it's just there. So, just because maybe I'll give that a chance, Cheerleader, and either not want to decommend it or feel like I may do myself, I will say Patch Adams.
Patch Adams is chucked in the bin and Steve's still not won anything.
Yes!
The biggest loser.
The
But he has a nice arse.
He has the most beautiful derriere.
It's time for the news.
Am I supposed to be doing
I don't know. I didn't know if you wanted to make it.
I don't know, but you should wait awkwardly for me to...
I thought the fanfare came with the Geeks.
It does, but I think
does.
the
Leslie
news
Ned
is
heard.
the news. Yeah, the news.
Did you want me
comes-
to do like a News 24, like bump, bump, dun, 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 dun.
Let's
That'll
try
do.
again then, let's try again.
Okay then.
Okay, it's time for the news.
Dun, 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 boom, boom, boom.
This week's news presented to you by Stephen Turnface.
It's my turn.
I don't know how that tickled me so much.
See if you can read your first news story in a news presenter's voice.
It's official. The Batman vs Superman trailer will be screened before Mad Max: Fury Road. Reports also suggest the Star Wars trailer will play before Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Why we didn't say American.
I know. I don't know why I defaulted to that. I was picturing like
You must watch
American
more British
news.
anchors.
I don't really
Jon
watch the
Snow.
news. I can't. I don't watch that.
Right, well you think about it
Yeah,
for the
go
next
on.
one. We'll talk about
That's
this
happening.
trailers.
So yeah, we're getting the Batman Superman trailer and we're getting the Star Wars trailer before Avengers.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. Mad Max is a Warner Bros. Production. I hinted as much before it was released last week. Star Wars is Disney, so is Avengers Age of Ultron. It's the biggest film you can put it for. It all makes perfect sense.
And it's all very exciting.
We'll be talking about that very soon then. Very soon.
The Star Wars trailer, I really can't wait to see.
Like I said last time, I'm kind of in love with this idea of not knowing.
So am I, but the idea of seeing it in the cinema and I don't know.
No, I'm more Batman v Soup, if I'm being honest, because I want more
I mean, I'm definitely
reassurance.
more, reassurance, intrigued by Batman vs Superman. I'm happy with Star Wars. You know, what I've
Yeah.
seen of Star Wars, I'm happy. I don't really want to see more,
Yeah.
but I will. I know I won't be able to avoid that trailer, so I've got to accept it. But I'm happy to do so.
We'll have to talk about both to death.
Yeah. That's
Do you
gonna
think
be
the
a
Batman
trailer.
Superman trailer is going to give away more about the visuals? Do you think it's going to be more of a teaser like the Ant-Man, or do you think it's going to like show us visually like this is how it's going to look?
Well, we're a year off from the film, so traditionally it'd probably be more of a tease.
And I think we will see the shot that was shown at Comic-Con with him, because we've already seen that. Maybe a little bit more on around that scene.
They'll give us enough because it'll be a post-Marvel fanfare, and it'll be their "this is happening" moment. It'll chuck a few things out there to get us all excited.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that.
Okay.
Get us all wet.
Cool. Lucy Griffiths, after being dropped from Constantine only one episode in, has been cast in Preacher as Emily Woodrow, a waitress church organist, bookkeeper, and Jessie's loyal right hand. Stoic and strong and wise beyond her years, a no-nonsense single mother of 3.
Don't know if I like this anymore.
No.
It's getting unnerving.
I was a bit.
We're getting a bit
scared
too
of that.
professional.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't like
didn't
it.
like that.
I come out in hives
It's
when
a
we're
bit-
professional.
Oh, I don't like it.
I like Lucy Griffiths. I used to like her when she was Maid Marian on the BBC version of Robin Hood,
Oh, is that who it is?
which was really camp version, but I liked Keith Allen as the Sheriff of Nottingham.
It was
And
brilliant.
they had Richard Armitage before the Hobbit films as the... what was it called now? It doesn't matter.
I can't remember.
My favourite BBC version of Robin Hood was Maid Marian and Her Merry Men.
With
Tony Robinson.
Tony
That's the one I
Robinson.
thought it meant.
Yeah.
Because that was BBC. Oh, right.
It was more of a Saturday evening after
Oh, okay.
Doctor Who sort of show, the Robin Hood one I watched.
Oh, right. No, that's what I thought.
They're on Netflix, which is why I watched them. I just had a weird... I don't know.
Is she that big a character in Preacher, though? I don't think she is.
She's
Well-
she's the made for TV. She's made for the series. This character.
Yeah,
Is she?
just
I was going to
that's
say,
not- yeah.
I don't remember.
She's not in the comic. It's one that she's been cast as the
I was going to say that because I don't remember.
Yeah, I
that
was gonna
character,
say.
so-
That's a little bit strange.
I forgot to add that because I would put that voice on.
Cool.
Was there rumours of Preacher as well had been cast?
Yeah,
I couldn't
I'm
find
actually
that.
The on about Dominic Cooper's the
That's
heavy
it.
favourite. Isn't
Right.
He looks the part.
I don't. I am an R on Dominic Cooper. Like he's Howard Stark, obviously in Captain America and Agent Carter, and he plays that well, but he plays it a bit slightly arched. Whereas I don't want Preacher to be that. I want it to be the performances to be more grounded.
He's quite a rich character as well. He's got a lot going on
Yeah,
behind.
which I'm not saying he can't do. I'm just saying. I don't know, he plays it up in the Marvel universe, whereas I want it played down, because there's going to be enough happening around him that he doesn't need to play it up,
Right.
if you know what I mean.
Do you think we need a relatively unknown then, from your point of view, Andrew, with the Preacher?
I don't
Or do you
know,
think
I-
we need somebody who's gonna, because we've got Joseph Gilgan obviously, and he's rising star, but
I think
Is he in America, though?
yeah, it's relatively
that's what I
unknown
mean, he's gonna
overall.
break out.
I don't know. I think it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell with it. I think he could do the job, but I don't know. Many people could. I don't know. Honestly, is my answer to that question.
With most things I hear about this, it's a bit of a hold your breath, wait and see, hope for the best.
I think the pilot's due soon, isn't it? They're gonna get it done
guessing
pretty
so.
quick.
Well, it's about this
Some-
time of year they sort of work out what goes to series, what doesn't, so on and so on. So, and you know, even if it doesn't, we'll get it leaked eventually and whatever. I think it'll go to series.
See what
I'd
could
imagine.
be. Yeah, it sounds with all the stuff we're getting. The seemingly unstoppable Phil Lord and Chris Miller have been signed up for the Flash standalone movie. The film's going to follow a different route to the TV series and will star Ezra Miller from Perks of Being a Wallflower. And we need to talk about Kevin. It's scheduled for a 2018 release.
Is that confirmed now? The toast of Hollywood at the minute after the success of the Lego film and Jump Street and all that. I really like them. I think they're quite funny. It depends what sort of tone they're going with the Flash. Could be like the Russo brothers with Marvel, where it's a bit of a coup. It depends what they're going for. But the Flash TV show is set that bar quite high, I think.
Right.
So it needs to differentiate itself from that. And I don't know how I feel about him being the Flash. It depends which Flash he is, I think. But they're obviously going for a younger Flash, so we'll see. Really,
We shall see.
Well, it's all up in the air, isn't it? So,
Yes,
so
yes.
it'll land where it will land.
Another new game has been added to the ever-increasing LEGO franchise. This time we've seen LEGO Dimensions featuring Batman, Gandalf and Wildstyle. The characters from DC Comics, Lord of the Rings and the LEGO Movie need rescuing as a mysterious and powerful vortex appears in various worlds. It's going to take the same format as the Disney Infinity and Skylanders games, where you get a physical representation of the portal and you actually place the LEGO characters on and you have to buy all the characters to be able to play as them. Consider me in. I'm there. I just need the money.
I know Skylanders a huge thing, and I've heard Disney Infinity is really fun, but it's just money grabbing collectible stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't like that either, but it just feels like Lego having its cake and eating it in a way, taking all of its properties. And I think on the whole, that does feel like an interesting idea, but It does. It's that cashing in kind of side. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I haven't really played any of the Lego games, and I always should. It's a different angle, and I guess you can't blame them for making money.
I mean, you know, if you're really into that game, I get the collectible aspect to it, but I don't want to pay 100 and on quid just to make a game worthwhile.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm too old. It's not for me though.
Yeah, true.
It's not even remotely for me. So maybe.
Yeah, I got Skylanders initially, but then I think with the Lego, if people are going to buy the minifigs anyway, which everywhere, depending on how much they charge,
a lot of
you'd
people
spend 3-4 quid on a minifig if they're charging
Yeah.
8 quid, and you can use it in a game, so it doesn't just sit on your shelf. I don't know.
And I know a lot of people
see
buy
it.
the Amiibos for the Nintendo Wii
Yeah.
U, and they really like them, and they are kind of cool. I do get it. I don't know. I've got too many geeky vices to justify.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think that's because mine is Lego. I'm thinking I'll be all
It's
over
probably
it.
be a street.
Yeah. The Gremlins reboot is actually one step closer to reality. Warner Brothers have hired Carl Ellsworth to pen the script. Ellsworth is responsible for Red Eye, Disturbia, Last House on the Left, the reboot, Red Dawn, and the upcoming Goosebumps movie. No other news has been yet confirmed.
What a great bunch of films he has in his back catalogue. It's one of those. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it is a beautiful film of its era. It's fun. I don't know how they're going to take.
Are they going to turn it more horror based, or are they going to keep that tongue in cheek?
I don't know.
And then if they do that, can you get away with that and still be fun these days? Because a lot of time it's not.
This is a perfect example of you don't need a reboot. You just go 3 if you're going to do it. You know, bring it back as it is. I'd like maybe to see Phoebe Gates and Billy coming back. You know, I don't know. I don't think it needs doing at all. But you know what? We've gone over these things.
we
It's going to
have.
happen.
In fairness, I don't think them two are integral to the not
but
it's both Gizmo. I do think you need Gizmo.
Oh, definitely.
You've got to.
I always thought that we should see what Gizmo looks like in his evolved form.
I want to see if he would still be cute and nice, and but also you'd want him to revert back, which is probably not possible. Nor do I want it to be particularly.
Do you remember a few moons ago we did a alternate Avengers?
Yes.
Unconventional Avengers. I want to do unconventional Pokemon at some point, so have a think about that.
Well, Gremlins is brilliant.
Creatures in films
okay.
that you would be a realistic Pokemon. Now, I don't want examples now.
Okay.
We'll come back to this in 3 weeks' time, and we'll do it then.
Cool.
I hope the listeners have picked up on the fact these days we put more of our sort of off-air suggestions on the air.
Yeah.
It's because we don't have had time to talk. So
And when we do, we're playing Quidditch.
I like it this
Here
way.
we are.
I like it this way
Writing
though,
up.
because people can be like, "Hey, what
What
happened to that?"
And we go,
And
shit.
we're like, "Oh yeah,
Oh, we'll
Like,
talk about
yeah,
it.
yeah, we'll do that."
No one's noticed we've let Hall of Fame disappear.
Oh, now they know.
Oh shit.
Sorry, shit.
Next.
With the massive success of things like Facebook, the movie, Lego, the movie, we're now getting the much needed fan favourite that people are crying out for, Play-Doh the movie. Hooray! 20th Century Fox and Hasbro are teaming up to work on a live action version of the popular toy brand, with rumours of Paul Feig to direct.
I always remember at Playgroup when I was a little kid, Play-Doh tasted disgusting, but the homemade Play-Doh, which was really salty, was really nice.
Was it? I can't say I've eaten Play-Doh because you're not supposed to.
Oh, I'm a good kid. I don't
like
put
the
things
smell
in
of
my
it.
mouth.
No, I'm a bad adult though. That implied a lot of things. I don't know. It's after Lego the movie and Facebook the movie, aka the social network, I feel really reluctant to chuck anything out just because it sounds inherently ridiculous. I miss the old days though of, do you fancy adapting this book? Or, oh, I've got this brilliant original idea. I'm fed up of going, Lamp the movie. Oh, we should have Gillette the movie.
Sand the movie.
Coca-Cola's 100 years old. Coca-Cola the movie. It's just getting a bit, I don't know. I feel like everyone's looking around their office.
Just
Hollywood
so-
dickheads
yeah.
going.
Yeah.
What can we make next? Well, seeing as we've used one of the stories about the we've discussed Ant-Man previously, I'll bring the other one then. Not Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Start again. Harry Potter. Daniel Radcliffe is going to be playing the guy who invented GTA in a documentary movie about him.
Okay.
Which I think that'd be quite interesting.
So is it a documentary when you've got an actor playing you?
Not
a
biopic. That's the word. Keep that in as well.
WGS pageantry.
Yes, that's the word. So yeah, that'll be interesting. That's kind of a weird one to.
Daniel Radcliffe branching out. Is it interesting watching a games designer walking on the streets and going, "Wouldn't it be great if I could run everyone over
and shoot people and stuff?"
And again, it's created. Does it still have the record for the fastest selling entertainment ever?
I mean,
it doesn't get higher success than that. No. So I guess he is rife for the subject.
I think it'd work because Facebook worked. Craft an interesting story.
The reason
if he has an interesting story.
The reason I like The Social Network, though, is it presents the fascinating. When he created Facebook, look at how many people he sort of butted heads with, and what did he do was wrong, and he presented it in a style of you don't know what the truth is because it's different people's accounts informing it. So he did it in a way where the film's plausible, but also highlights the fact that's not necessarily how it might have happened. Because different people's accounts are all tarred by their own perceptions.
Yeah.
So, whereas biopics usually try and present the quote-unquote truth the way they want to, and they build up moments and they create drama that probably never exist, and they Hollywoodise it all, which is why I always have a problem with biopics. Because I just rub up against them going, that definitely didn't happen that way.
I think Lovelace was a big one for that they never really addressed the fact that she was a compulsive liar as well, and it took a very one-sided view of the situation. I know she was in a terrible situation, full stop, but there was more to it than the documentary, not documentary, the biopic put across. I think you need to be, like in a documentary, a bit more subjective. I look for the same kind of thing. Look at both sides. Look at everything. Explore the situation, because that's what's fascinating. Not just telling one person's side.
I always just point out. Imagine someone made a biopic of you, and you're watching your own life dramatised. I bet every single scene you were like, that didn't happen. I wouldn't say that. They're not like that.
Yeah.
Joke.
Yeah.
That was actually on a bus. No, I said that with makeup on me. It was after a party. That weren't a big deal. Why are they bringing that up?
Steve's a lot smaller in real life.
I didn't know they knew about that.
I never put that in there.
I wouldn't.
Where did she come from?
There were more than 3 of us.
I wish you looked like that. You'd just be doing that all the time. Yeah.
Talking of things, we got a trailer for Human Centipede 3.
Yeah.
With the voiceover, the most.
Is it called Millipede?
No.
I'm fucking fed up of this. The second one should have been called Millipede.
What's the
third one?
Billipede. Fuck yeah, that's how you raise the stakes, boy. That's
yeah.
Trillipede.
Okay.
The trailer looks. The first one was very much a kind of gross out B movie. The second one took it a lot darker.
Yeah, it did.
This one seems to be just being really silly now, very silly. Prison drama where everyone gets sewn together in a
500 people. Yeah.
I think we got a tweet from Alpha _Brony, and he said, something along with, let me guess, is it about people getting sewn together, ass to mouth?
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. I mean, the trailer's
what
so
more do you want from a
tongue-in-cheek.
film?
Well, yeah, the trailer's so tongue-in-cheek. It's like, one film series is almost too disgusting to describe. Now the unthinkable has become almost too real. It's like, it's taking the piss out of itself. And then you see all the characters of the other films meeting up in the prison office, and it's like, oh, really? But I'm there. It's a straight-to-streaming service this time around, yeah.
Good. I like it. I think it's silly. It's provoking people for provoking people's sake. It knows what it's doing, and everyone who stands there around the water cooler at work going, well, I think it's disgusting and things like this shouldn't be made. That's exactly what Tom Six wanted.
Exactly. And I think, didn't the discussion, initially I read the discussion came from a silly discussion he'd had with somebody about how they could punish paedophiles. And it came from a really weird discussion. They went, wouldn't that'd make an idea for a film? Strange.
Ass to mouth.
Yeah, ass to mouth.
Make them go through the judicial process.
And then
do the
sew them together, like in Human Centipede 3.
Medically accurate.
Wait.
100%. Good idea, Scott.
Full circle.
Great.
Anyway, Avengers Age of Ultron.
Full circle.
Full circle. That could be... That could be the fourth
That
one.
could be, and then you've got an endless. It's like
I used to think,
perpetual motion
Perpetual
of
motion
poo.
machine.
I used to think about these with daisy chains.
Yeah.
You know, like men and men and men and men and men. Can they loop round?
Like, if you enough people, like,
How many would you need?
I don't know why this question pervades my brain so much.
something you often thought about later.
Oh, always.
Tweet in, closest answer wins.
You know, you consider the riddles of the universe, you go over all the regrets in your life, you think about your future, and then you go, could a daisy chain be a full circle and would they all get satisfaction? They're the 4 questions that keep me up at night.
Okay.
Next news.
On a lighter note, the Avengers Age of Ultron will have no post-credit sequence. There'll be a tag mid-credits. Whedon has said there's nothing at the very end, and that's not a fake out. We want people to know so they don't sit there for 10 minutes and then go, son of a bitch, I'll kill them.
Bet they still do, because they're idiots. I mean, what? Yeah, well, they didn't on the first Avengers. The Swami thing filmed on the week was mostly for American ones. They weren't on the English ones. Everyone waited after the mid-credits one with Thanos for no reason. So it'll be that again. People will wait because it's now habit. They now expect it. So you can tell them till you're blue in the face. People will still sit to the end and groan, even if you warn them. 8 times before going into
But
that.
some people like to sit and read the credits.
I never get that because you've got. I get it's a respect thing because of all the people that put work behind the film, and that's great. But you have no context for any of the names. Therefore, what are you looking at?
I want to see if Billy Partridge got his credit he deserved.
Billy Partridge.
Billy Partridge.
I always want to know who the best boy is.
Key grip.
Oh, I have a key grip.
There you do. Photo news. We had a picture of Jared Leto teasing his role as the Joker in Suicide Squad with his bleached hair and the camera reminiscent of the Killing Joke.
Yep.
That looked pretty cool.
He had it at the wrong side. Wrong-handed. I say that tongue-in-cheek. There will be fanboys out there weirdly offended by that because people are just stupid.
Slicked back hair, you know, green, and yeah, he looks the Joker. I can't really take much from that.
I mean, we're all trying to piece together things we see of him and things he does. Like, I've seen, has he just done his Joker voice on stage? Oh, look at his hair, look at his skin. Yeah, it's all. He will have green hair. Yes, he looks like a slick back Russian hitman at the minute, but it's going to be green. He's going to put on. He's going to become that character. He's going to have red lips.
First skinny face Joker, the proper, like how I imagine he looks, like properly, he looks a bit gaunt though. If we're going to theorise, I like that angle.
I think he'll be like skinny muscly there, like an athletic wrestler or something.
Okay.
And it'll be very Dark Knight Returns, and it'll be very different. And I'm open to it. They're loving the tease of this.
Yeah, they are.
But it's the Joker, so it's appropriate.
It's going to be a hard act to follow.
So this week, last weekend, we were treated to the next of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, now breaching into TV with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now, Daredevil, on Netflix. So I thought we'd have we've had a munch with our eyes. We've watched a few
munch with our eyes.
Munched it up. And I thought we could talk about our general feelings and our expectations, what they were, and were they reached about Daredevil. Have we all watched them? First couple of episodes. Cool.
You can't nod your head, Steve, when we're
I
doing
said,
it.
I was.
But that's still as articulate as it
I was
needs
going
to
to
be.
cough, so I was holding in a cough.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
like, I can't answer, and you all looked at me, and I was
Okay,
like, no.
so you watched it.
I've watched the first 2, yeah.
First 2.
We'll let you start.
Okay. I thought it was an incredibly strong opening to a TV series I didn't think I was that bothered about. I've watched the first couple of episodes of Arrow. I watched 2 or 3, and it just felt like not knowing much about Arrow, it felt like a sort of cheap, low budget,
You watch your mouth. You
bad
watch your
looking-
mouth, boy.
bad looking Batman knockoff, because I don't know anything about Arrow.
Oh, dude.
And Gotham I got into, I watched 5 or 6, and then life took over, and The Flash I haven't seen. So this one I thought I'll give this one a go, because it's all there in one go, and ended up watching 2 back to back, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Really strong, really dark. The fight scenes were brilliant, reminded me of sort of the Batman computer game. Really sort of brutal and violent.
The Arkham ones.
Yeah.
I thought that as well.
But
actually.
really, really good. And just in those 2 episodes, a lot of questions I now want answered, and I'm going to watch it all. I thought it was really good. and really strong.
I'll echo Steve's thoughts on it. Actually, it's very, as you know, it's very hard for me to commit to a programme. It took me 9 attempts to finish Breaking Bad. I've watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I found it too cheesy and never went back. And I watched, what was the other one I was going to bring? Gotham. I thought that was too fast-paced and boring and didn't get me. I should give them more chance, but it's asking for a commitment of your time when you watch these. Yes. And pilot and an early episode should do this well. And I didn't really know what to expect from Daredevil. I knew it was taking a darker slant. I didn't think it would take such a dark slant, and I like that a lot. It really is good as well that it is part of the Marvel Universe. This is referenced, but it's almost like, though those big showcase celebrity ones are doing the big jobs, there is actually a war going on the streets here. These sex traffickers are horrible crimes, and to actually confront those kind of problems, it's great to see the other side, to see this guy who does have an ability. It's an ability that his inability to see is counteracted by. So he is a lot. He can take punches. In the first couple of episodes, we see he comes off worse in occasion. It's really fantastic. It's dark. The fight scenes are brilliantly choreographed. I found all the characters engaging, and even the ones that I'd normally find annoying are actually really good and interesting, serve their purpose. They're his mate. Yeah.
Worst bit about it for me. I hate him.
You do?
I don't see the point of him. Is he supposed to be funny?
He's kind of odd, isn't he? I've only seen the 2 episodes, so at the moment he's not in it enough for offending.
I get that he's supposed to be sweet and trustful and whatever, but it winds me up. I don't know what it is about him. He looks like someone blew up Peter Dinklage.
But overall, I think it looks really good. I'm interested where it's going to go, and I am definitely hooked. And I wanted to binge it, but then I thought, I'm going to savour this like a good pack of crisps.
Yeah,
I get a good pack of anyway, so I know someone in the room, which evidently isn't me and Steve, has watched a few more and is definitely the comic conversion adaptation maestro. How are you finding it?
The title's getting longer. Yeah. I'm on episode 9.
Oh wow!
I've been looking forward to this for a while because Daredevil's always, I don't know why, he's just always been one of my favourite Marvel characters, but possibly because of his thematic similarities to Batman. It's very possible, but there's something about him, whether it's his greatest weakness being his greatest strength. He's one of the only superheroes with a disability. He's cool looking, he's street level. There's a million. I could analyse it to death, but he's always been one of my favourite Marvel things. So when the rights reverted back to Marvel, I got really excited. And I got even more excited when I heard it was going to be on TV, because as people are learning, you can make it different on TV. And Arrow and Flash and all that went for serialised television over 20 odd episodes. So that's brilliant. They're doing a great job. But I like the idea of these I always like the idea of a HBO miniseries and stuff. And this is as close as we've gotten to anything like that. So you can give it the sort of layers, tightness, and go as dark as you want with it. So it goes as dark as the Marvel Universe has ever gotten. That much is given. Its tone's fantastic, and it really lends itself to it. It builds everything slowly. It doesn't have to tell you everything right away. I mean, it doesn't even explain his powers to anyone in the first few episodes. Right. And it doesn't touch on Arthur's origin for the first few episodes. You don't even meet Kingpin for a few episodes. It had me on episode 2 when it's that long corridor and it's just showing the most brutal fight coming in and out. You only half see some of it, and as Andrew pointed out, they're not staying down. They're coming back up. It's messy. It's not like, look at how badass this guy is. It's
not for wazzing a shield at people and generic aliens falling over. It's real.
Gritty.
It's a street level war on crime and all the mess that comes along with it. And it's like a bit of a cross between a more dramatised Wire and Arrow. And it's just really good. I'm hooked, and especially when Kingpin gets more involved, because he's fascinating. It's just really strong. It's as good as I hoped it'd be, and maybe slightly better than I expected. Okay. I don't know if that makes sense.
Where does it fit in? Because obviously you watch them all, and you're a fan of kind of all the superhero. Where does it feature so far as a show in terms of adaptations? Yeah.
It's tough because you're on like season 3 of Arrow, where it's managed to do cool things, and I'm in, so you get excited about what it's building off. And Flash is just a giddy, fun excitement. Like, I can't believe they're doing the things they're doing. I never thought I'd see it. Look how amazing it is, and it works. But this, for a first season, it's just strong and solid. So it's right up there.
Cool.
It's a completely different thing to the Flash, so I wouldn't want to compare them remotely.
Right.
But it's as strong as it's been.
It does feel like it's coming off the page as well. Yeah. I really feel like you're turning the leaves of a comic book as well, a modern dark comic book. You know, like the Batman ones I read and things. I'm sure some of the more modern Daredevils are like that. It actually feels a bit like some of the Punisher Max ones I read from a few years ago. It feels like you're reading a graphic novel. And because its tone is so strong, and it's sticking to its guns, it's not the light fluffiness of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when that started. It says, right, I know the rules of the Marvel Universe, but this is our rules. This is our story. This is the world that is too dirty for them to look at.
Yep,
and it's working.
What's happening in the gutter while Hulk's fighting aliens?
Yeah.
So yeah, I advise anyone who's curious to watch it. I'm sure most of our regular listeners, will be watching. We want to hear your views, and I think we'll revisit this in a few weeks' time when we've all finished the series.
It's what the problem is now, though. Is it's so good, and I'm not as excited for the others. So I'm hoping the quality keeps up as they build to this Defenders, which could be amazing. But it's made me really excited for Iron Fist. Because I imagine that'll have a very similar thing, only more sort of. I was going to say Oriental. Is that an appropriate word? Who knows these days?
Who knows? Yeah,
so check it out.
It is good. I will just say one thing the reason I ended up watching too, and if anyone that hasn't watched it, normally with Netflix you get to the end of a show and it pops up in the corner and says you might like this and gives you 20 seconds. This just goes, this one's finished, next one, and you get that little pause where it buffers and it carries on. It feels like you're watching a big film,
big
and I'm gutted I couldn't watch more like you, but I think time and life.
It's been a jam-packed show of us gobbling on about all things comics and that, and TV and Netflix. Get Netflix, buy Netflix.
Again, I don't think you give enough gravitas to our words, because I am a shepherd of the soul. These are lectures that I give to my masses.
We've gabbled on about crap.
No,
but now here's the good words from Bumpy Goose.
There's so much substance to my words.
Fibre.
Well, we'll see.
What?
I don't know.
Much fibre in your words.
Eat your words like fibre. Fill you up. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's a reason I said me and not all of this.
Oh.
That was me.
What a dick.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment, Andrew.
So
quite impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Put it away.
I didn't know how to feel about getting it out, but you all seem cool about it.
So we're showcasing our brilliant words here at the moment for you. But here we are with the Bumpy Goose story. We have Bumpy Goose, for any listeners who don't know. When I was young, just a wee child, just a baby boy, me and my sister wrote stories influenced by Goosebumps. We called it Bumpy Goose originally. We were about between the ages of 7 and 10, I would say.
Like 8?
No, 9.
Okay.
8.5.
Sorry, I don't know.
WGS pedant.
So now we're going to go to the story which is called Under the Bed. Here we are, Steve.
Okay.
And it goes on for
Oh, wow, okay. Oh, gosh.
Voices.
John Bolton was a grumpy little boy who got cross at most things.
Most boring name he's ever done. John Bolton.
I can read it as John Bolton if you want.
No, John Bolton works.
No, it's John Bolton. Why?
Yeah.
Sorry, what's the beginning? I'm not used to a wacky name. That when it was the most mundane name I've ever heard, I switched off.
John Bolton was a grumpy little boy who got cross at most things. Yeah. His only friend, Kerry, had got him a sticker book for his 8th birthday.
Terrible present.
It was a Star Trek sticker book.
Awesome present.
It was 10:30 p.m.
Unnecessary.
It might be. You haven't heard the story.
Fair enough.
Go to bed, said John's mum. No, I don't want to. Not yet, Mum.
It is a bit late.
He moaned. Yes, go up now and don't make a silly fuss, please.
It's very Monty Python.
It is, isn't it? I'm not making a fuss, he cried as he rolled on the floor, pulling his hair out.
Oh, gosh. You write the most sort of horrible children, I think.
Mm.
You had a knack for pointing out the Mardy ones.
The Mardy kids, yeah.
I think they need Super Nanny in the Bumpy Goose universe. John slammed his fish tank lid down and stomped upstairs.
Odd.
When I'm in CID, I'm going to nick that mum of mine.
When what?
He sniffed.
When he's in CID?
Huh?
What's CID?
It's the police force.
Is it?
It's a criminal investigation department.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the CIA? Central
And
Intelligence
I've just remembered
Agency.
this.
Yeah.
I think John Bolton was a character from The Bill.
Wow.
Oh.
Plagiarism.
Wow. And that weirdly only came back then. Because I was thinking, why would I put CID in?
Wow. Unless we call it fan fiction.
Fanfic.
Does
Yeah.
it become slash fiction? Let's find out.
I know. That was rich coming from the mardiest boy in the street.
Snap.
He got upstairs and stamped his feet. He was so cross, he grabbed his
why would
sticker
it be?
book and threw it.
Why would he throw his present from Kerry because he's mad at
Because
his
he's
mum?
Mardy.
So cross.
He's
But
so
that's
Mardy.
spiting someone else. It's not a party to him.
I'm not liking him at the moment.
I think he's a very spoiled young man. I think he needs to go to bed.
It hit his computer, bounced off the lava lamp, smashed his school photograph, and slid under his bed.
How? That would not happen.
It did.
Right
When you
there.
throw a sticker album, it just kind of goes.
I don't
It
know
wouldn't
how
bounce off
substantial
something.
this Star Trek sticker
If it was a
was.
bouncy ball, I'd buy that.
It was one of those collector's edition
Yeah.
ones with a solid
Hardback.
cover. Yeah.
Did you ever fill a sticker book?
Yeah.
Which one?
Garfield and World Cup '86.
I forget how old he is.
Wow, we weren't even born by that. Well, you were filling your sticker books. My dad was filling my mum's sticker book.
Your mum was.
Move on.
I didn't want to say it.
No, your mum was complete.
Oh no! Help! Please forgive me. It's gone under. No! I'm sorry. He shrieked.
1 second. I was so busy laughing at his mum and dad that I missed the beginning. Could you do all that again?
Oh no! Help! Please forgive me. It's gone under. No! I'm sorry.
Right, I'm really sorry. But I don't quite understand what happened. Could you just do it again?
So he's thrown a sticker book. It's bounced off a photograph, smashed the lava lamp, hit his computer, gone under the bed, and he's sorry.
Alright. Now, could you do it in the voice?
Move on.
Quick. John hated under the bed. It was scary.
What? Oh, he hated it.
It was scary.
I took that as like a verb, and it sounded weird. Go on.
It was scary. Everything he was scared of lived under there. Cheese monsters,
That's scary.
They sound brilliant.
ghosts,
Spooky.
vampires,
Bitey.
spiders,
Crawley.
giant dogs.
Woofy.
Why would a giant dog be under a bed?
Why would a vampire and a ghost?
Oh, I bet you'd sleep woof.
Wolves.
Howley.
Yeah. Beans.
Trumpy.
Marmite.
Divides people.
Yeah.
And worst of all, skeletons.
Why? They don't do anything.
Well,
Are they living skeleton?
Eek! He said to himself the next morning. I'll have to get Carrie to come under with me.
Okay, I've used that. Do you want to come over? I've got beans and wolves.
got beans and cheese.
You'll have to get under with me. And then they just. It's not work today, but I have hopes.
Come and pet my giant dog.
Come and pet my cheese monster. Oh, that's this. Steve, why would you say
I
that?
didn't.
And I'll flick your beans.
Wow.
Okay, Carrie arrived munching an egg and pickle sandwich.
Egg and pickle. Never had it.
No. What's up? She asked.
I like it.
But he should ask.
He explained everything.
How?
Go
Especially the
under
bit
then,
where it went.
she said when he'd finished.
Go under then.
Yeah.
What? Who would hear that? With that menagerie of weird ghouls and ghosts and animals and go under then.
I'll tell you who, Kerry. She
Kerry.
did.
It's like,
So accept it,
do you know
buddy.
what the most scary thing about it is? It's the like the sort of horrible beans that are spoiled under there. That would smell foul.
Would. No!
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yes! No! Yes!
Oh god, we've got a debate.
No! You!
I don't know whose side to take.
Okay.
Oh,
Kerry's
some
good.
people have a way with words, I find.
She went under the bed. She saw a sock and sniffed it.
As you do.
Why?
In a teenage boy's room, you do not want to be
No.
sniffing those
I
socks.
feel
No
missold
way.
as well, because at no point was I warned there were socks under there.
She was sick.
Bloody hell.
It can happen. Clean your socks, people.
John went under. His bones shook.
Which
A
bone chilling.
skeleton grabbed him.
Oh, different bone shaking.
John and Kerry were never seen again
Oh, grim.
until they were in CID. The end!
Oh, what a twist, happy ending! You don't get them often.
So there you go. Don't stray under the bed. We will be
No.
having a special Bumper Goose story next week. It's not special, it's just the next one in the book, but it's our 100th episode, so we will. On that note, before we go on to the shout-outs, we will be releasing our next show on a Monday, so you'll be without us for a little while. About a week and a half, a bit less, a bit more.
We are now Monday week speak.
We're Monday. And the reason is, I'm not going to beat around the bush, it's just, it makes it easier for us, and it makes editing easier, and it will still be the great show that we are, doing the same stuff for another 100 episodes.
Yeah, just gives us more time, and it. Monday is such a dull day that people
Yeah.
We
don't
need
like.
to cheer you up, you
We
know.
need to attack Mondays, frankly, because
Yeah.
Garfield's had enough.
Yeah.
It's about time we jump in.
Anyway, what time is it, Steve?
It's time for This Week the Geeks Have Spoken. Nice.
It almost sounded like you got stuck in there.
I sound the needle of the record
Yeah.
was playing. You just had to hit it.
Or the Wordly Nerd Herd, as we decided.
I'm glad we're sticking with that,
Last
because
time.
I felt like that was a real mission to find like a nice terminology for them, and then we just gave up at some point.
Yeah.
I started calling them Weekly Geekless, and I don't know what that is or why.
The Geek Speaks.
No, that's
No.
us. That's our
Yeah, that's
our
us.
beat
That's our
band.
band. Yeah.
Our beatnik band that we're going to start.
Cheers.
Okay. We'll start, as always, with 3-word reviews and at Popular Outcasts on a quest to watch 365 films in the year. Hopefully before the year is out. He's well on track at the minute.
He's well on course for a September finish.
127.
I think
For
more
a
October,
for
he'll be in
the-
October.
I think August.
7th for September. He won't let me down.
Come on, Pete. You got this. Empire Records, Rex Manning Day, 8 out of 10.
I kept seeing that a lot on Twitter, but I've never seen Empire
Great
Records, so I
No, I've never seen
Really good film. Rex Manning Day, there's a guy, they obviously it's about a record shop, and there's a guy, Rex Manning, releases an album and comes in, and it's that made it sound shit. I'm gonna stop talking. I agree with 8 out of 10. It's a really good film. It's very funny. Great soundtrack.
it. It's strange for you to not be able to articulate a
Isn't it
sentence
just?
very well.
We all have our days.
We do. Daredevil, Netflix, Dark and Gritty, 9 out of 10.
That would have been good to read out. during
Wouldn't it?
our,
When-
Daredevil section.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that? Oh, yeah.
Earlier, yeah.
And then he proceeded to watch Leprechaun 2, 3 and 4. Leprechaun 2, Leprechaun in Love, 5
In
out
the
of
Hood.
10. Leprechaun 3 stays in Vegas, and Leprechaun 4 in Space, pretty much parody, 4 out of 10.
Oh, he's in the Hood after in
That's-
space.
the Hood is 4, I think.
I always thought Leprechaun in the Hood was.
Hip hop
Oh, maybe
horror
it's
didn't put
5.
on one, though. I don't know.
I didn't.
I love-
I'm glad you watched them. I need to at some point.
Yeah.
My favourite is Leprechaun in the Hood, and then the first one. And then
There's-
I've not seen In Space.
There's Origins
Seen the
now as well.
first, yeah.
Oh yeah, with Hornswoggle from WWE. I don't want to watch that one.
No, they are all available on Netflix.
It's nothing without what it does.
No,
True.
it's true. Adam Voice at Fally Baldwin. The Walking Dead, all up to date now, 8 out of 10. Although I
think he was
did
reading
mean
that.
reads. He didn't put Weekly Geek Speak reads, so I wasn't sure.
It will be.
It will.
Okay.
Because it was in direct response.
And it wasn't a 3-word review.
No.
Are you still on 3-word reviews?
Yeah. I've just
Oh.
written it in the wrong place.
What an
Hooray!
idiot. Not you, not you, Adam.
Not you,
It's
Adam.
this guy.
It's nice that you're interacting again. I haven't heard from you in a while. Hello.
Why are you weirdly guilting people? Just be thankful they've done it.
No, I am. It is nice to hear from him.
But it's a bit of
you know, when you're scrolling through and you go, "Oh, they've not interacted in a while. That's cool. Hello."
But it's also
nice.
It's that implication of it's nice to hear from you. I hope you don't disappear.
He's
got
being
life
my friend.
shit going on.
I
He's
know. I'm
doing
just saying,
stuff.
it's nice to hear from him.
It is nice. Just thank him.
Thanks. I did.
Oh!
God.
Every interaction is deeply appreciated.
It is.
Do it as you wish.
Yeah, as and when.
Only more often, please.
The Tepid Ass at Elride, Amelie, Awkward Love Story, 9 out of 10.
Yes, lovely film.
Lovely.
Beautiful film.
Thank you for tweeting us.
Oh, please tweet us again.
Send more.
Oh, we miss you.
Send us tweets.
He obviously doesn't miss
And
you
I'll put them in the right place.
because he moaned about Adam, and we haven't heard from Elroy.
We
for a little
haven't. I
while.
was going to carry on with that,
All
but
right.
we two got so busy doing the
Please go on.
Carry
Yeah,
on.
it's nice
Stop
to
wasting
hear-
time, Steve.
It's
Come
nice
on,
to hear
chop,
from
chop.
people we've not heard from.
It's
It's
nice
nice
to
to hear
hear
from Elride. Thank you.
from
Elride.
All of the listeners.
Yeah, it is. God.
Stop playing favourites.
Another one we've not. Hollow Spy, at Hollow Spy. Maze Runner, enjoyable entry chapter, 7 out of 10.
Good to hear from you, Holly.
It's Hollow Spy. Thanks, Hollow Spy.
We appreciate you.
Robbie Polanco, at Robbie, superfan, at Robbie _Polanco.
Just hi there, Rob.
Furious
Thank you.
7.
So nice. Please
Thank
tweet
you.
more.
Thank you, Thank you, Rob.
Action on steroids.
What was that? Sorry.
Furious 7.
Oh, Fast
You're
and
looking
Furious,
forward to the
I
time.
am indeed. I really want to see it.
I've heard many people say it will make you cry
Oh.
because you spent money for it.
Man of many names, at Sparky Wright, McGuffin. This time round. Read previous 3-word review. I meant Looper, as in loop, not Looper the film. As in time loop, not Looper the film.
Oh yes, that's
Hashtag loop, Looper loopy.
The problem is, one of us might have picked up on that, but I've only seen Looper, you've only seen Edge of Tomorrow, and Steve
I've seen both.
is Steve.
And I knew it was
So we didn't catch
So have you
that.
seen Looper?
Stephen is a Stephen.
I
Does.
have seen Looper, yes, it's
Yeah.
really good, I like Looper.
Alright. I did. Yeah, I read Edge of Tomorrow and then got
Yeah.
stuck in that loop. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it again.
Loopy Looperson.
Freya at Run Roller Run in response to the Stephen King top 5. Her top 5 is Running Man, Shawshank Redemption, Misery, The Mist, and The Langoliers.
You only mentioned one of them.
The Langoliers, she said, was released as a really fucking long TV movie in Oz. Not sure if that's acceptable. Hashtag WGS preemptive pedantry.
No.
We guess we didn't allow.
No, you didn't allow me
If
yet.
we don't allow
No,
it, we
you're not
can't.
allowed.
We can't.
And the DHM apt pupil. The DHM, what was that? What did we?
What?
Paul,
Dishonourable mention.
Dishonourable mention, thank you. I couldn't remember what it was. Apt Pupil, which I haven't seen, and Firestarter Tales from the Dark Side, which I think is a straight to DVD
I
sequel.
like Tales from the Dark Side. It's the one I'm thinking of.
I think it's a direct sequel to the
The-
Firestarter.
Tales from the
Just
Dark
like a-
Side.
Yeah, it was Fire. I think it's Firestarter 2. Maybe it's not.
No, Tales from the Dark Side is its own film.
Oh.
If it's what I'm thinking, which is another anthology one, unless I'm mistaken. But I quite liked it. It's very cheesy. It
Okay.
had a cat which crawled down people's throats.
And she also said, I appreciate maybe my writing didn't make this clear, but it was I love Luigi Zamo. So
You read
apologies
that
on that. I read
Ah.
it wrong. It was your writing. Sorry, I didn't read it properly. Pete
He
Bushbauer.
liked that himself, didn't he?
Yeah,
Got a
he
little-
did. I don't know. Yeah,
He's seen our
Yeah.
handle.
Pete Bushbauer.
We're celebs now.
It's coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We mentioned it, though.
Well,
No, we can't. Let's rain on another one of us parade.
we need to mention it.
Anyway,
again.
thanks for getting in touch, Fred.
Cheers, Freya. Thanks for that. Pete Bushbauer at Popular Outcasts. Shining is a fantastic film that's still hugely lacking from a fantastic book. Carrie is a fantastic film that misses the best parts from the book. From the pig's blood on, they make it a horror, and it's not. Needful Things and Running Man are both well described and well represented. So thank you for your
Thank you for your feedback
thoughts.
as always.
Thank you for the feedback. Brilliant. Superfan Robbie Polanco at Robbie _Polanco. I love Running Man. I had no idea Stephen King wrote it. He has a fantastic imagination. And then he joined in with the at my job listening to Weekly Geek Speak and other pod pals through a Bluetooth mini speaker with the hashtag WGS selfie.
Ah, yes, explain that again.
So how do you listen to us? Send us a picture, hashtag it WGS selfie, and we'll put you all into a prize to win the Walking Dead first graphic novel and a few other bits and bobs we'll
Which we'll
chuck
pull
in
through.
there.
Now, I listen to us in the bath. Should I?
Yes.
Yeah.
With Periscope up.
Yeah.
We also got another one of those. I don't know if you picked up on that, but Arbitrary Genius. Beck's Arbitrary Genius sent us one with a cat attacking her. Cat attack.
Nice.
Oh, it's not worse.
Thank you for those.
Cool. Yes, I didn't know Running Man was Stephen King either, and it's one of them I almost distrust, but no one's corrected us, so I trust you, because you were on it last week, Steve, as I told you in person.
I think we should, before we get on with this, we should give an example of the WGS selfie and do one.
Oh, okay.
Do one. Okay.
Oh, the light's not going to help me. There we go. So that's
Lighting never helps me, I find.
Light isn't your fan.
No, light doesn't like me.
To be photographed in the dark.
I am one of the most beautiful men you'll ever see in the dark. But in the light, I am hideous. I'm the reverse Jekyll and Hyde.
clutching his moose head.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to address this now. If
Okay.
I can.
Right.
It's not something I do in every single room. It's certain rooms I'll have that for. I was just being over honest.
Okay.
In that occasionally, if I'm in a pub,
Yeah.
I will decide
Yeah.
to decide who's the most attractive person in that pub,
Okay.
and also decide what could kill me because I'm an anxious freak. I did not seek out inanimate objects to have sex with, nor do I grade people in terms of looks on day-to-day life. This has been Scott reading a message from his representatives.
Back to the show.
That was my prepared statement over back to everything else.
So Freya at Roll and Run. After Weekly Geek Speak brought Super Mario Brothers back into life this week, I'm tempted to spend Sunday with an at John Leguizamo marathon. John Leguizamo then liked the tweet, retweeted it, and he replied, "Do it, go for broke." So that's
And then
really
I think
cool.
suggested 3 more films for her to watch.
Yeah.
What's his best film, you reckon? I think Moulin
Moulin
Rouge.
Rouge.
I really liked him in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
His Baz Luhrmann works up there. Moving on.
In response to Daredevil, Rex Everything at Rex Everything 3, enjoyable Rosario Dawson.
Enjoyable,
that
that's
was
a
a
3
surprise.
review, yeah.
She's okay, isn't it? She's more of a service to a function. I don't think she's one of the standout things. But then again, Wesley and Kingpin and Matt Murdock, there's a lot of stellar performances. That's the only reason I say that. But I like Rosario Dawson.
I do.
She's nice.
And Roller Polar Bear at Polar 1980 Bear. Where's Ben Affleck?
He's Batman. Don't know if you heard.
Upgraded.
Oh,
I still maintain the director's cut of Daredevil is okay. So,
well, Dave at Wilbro Jr. 36, in response to the classic Daredevil trailer that we posted just before the show was on, said he doesn't have superpowers though. Have to say the director's cut is better, but not by much.
for if we're talking pre-Batman Begins, like I like to do, pre-2005 when the game changed slightly, and you got a lot of those crap Marvel films like Fantastic Four. Alright, Spider-Man were good, but like still cut and cut. There were a lot of the Ang Lee's Hulk and all this. The director's cut of Daredevil is as good as any of them, if not better than a lot of them.
I've not watched it, so
No, I've not seen the film.
It's just the main film's a bit of a head rush with crap, with a lot of metal music and
Right.
just it's a bit campy in places. But
Okay.
the director's cut is very passable for that period of time when superhero films were feeling their way into mainstream. But obviously, this is better, like by
by far.
worlds. But I will defend Daredevil, the director's cut, where I can. It's my goal in life.
Quick, this week the Geeks have baked. Rebecca Bex at Arbitrary Genius. This week the Geeks have baked. I'm wallowing with food. Hashtag RIP Deadpool. Did some
she
Deadpool
died.
biscuits. Yeah.
Oh, they drop like flies. We lost Donatello. We lost Wade Wilson.
it's almost like they're planning for a big reboot.
Yeah.
No one ever comes back in comics.
No.
It's when they're dead.
So
they stay
wasteful
dead.
when they kill them off.
There used to be what was the joke? The only people who stay dead are Ben Parker and Jason Todd. And then they brought Jason Todd back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Nobody's safe.
Nobody's
in their grave.
In their grave. Joe Pollard at JC_Pollard. Man of Steel, I've been warned against it, but then I make a habit of watching crap. Mall Cop 2 today. Enough said.
Oh, and what was the crap they watched before Mall Cop 2?
Ooh,
When are we
controversial.
When are we watching Paul Blart Mall Cop 2?
Paul Blart Mall Cop. Paul
Paul, blah, blah, blah.
Paul Pilates Pilate Cops.
Because it will be nothing less than a symphony of pratfalls and hijinks and slapstick, probably at its finest. I think we should go.
Okay. And finally, Pip Mason. A friend loaned me Annihilation Conquest Volume 1 and 2. Really good event. Starting to like the space stuff. 9 out of 10. Hashtag WGS Read. Andrew, what's the WGS Read?
WGS Read. Hashtag WGS Read. If you read a graphic novel or a comic, tell us what it is, review it, rate it. A bit like 3 reviews, but you can use as many characters as you can in the tweet. And just send it to us. We'd love to see what you're reading. We'd want to get more into comics. We'll be talking comics next week with Mark and us. And yeah, so just get in on that. It's a bit of fun. So, we've also got some more Man of Steel. This is the last Man of Stealing we'll do, but this is from ABH Pod.
Man of Stealing.
In regards to the Man of Steel question we put out a few weeks ago, they sent us an email. Thank you very much. We got one from Tom and one from Ant. Hi guys, Tom here. I won't speak for Ant, though I know he wasn't bowled over by the film either. Writing to you in answer of your question why Man of Steel just doesn't do it for me. And in all honesty, I can't really articulate why I dislike the film. I've given it a lot of thought, which is why this email is probably too late for inclusion on your latest episode. I could say it's too earnest but takes itself too seriously, but then Batman Begins is probably my favourite of the Nolan trilogy, and that's damn earnest.
Yep.
I could also say that Superman would never let his father die, but the greater good that he was doing for himself made sense, even though, as you mentioned, it was poorly explained.
Yeah.
I could say there's never a sense of jeopardy when Superman is involved, but this is true of virtually all superheroes. I could also say that I'm not a big Superman fan, which is true, but it hasn't stopped me enjoying many of the Marvel films, although they are much more fun and inclusive, which help Marvel immeasurably. But I think it comes down to the fact that it just didn't grab me. I can't explain why. I really wish I could. It just did nothing for me, I'm afraid. And I think that's what got me the most. I should like it. I love superhero films. Maybe I'm just mad at myself. So that was.
You don't have to be mad at yourself if you don't like
No.
it. No one has to like it. I don't want everyone to like it.
Ant also said, "Hey guys, I wasn't going to try to explain my reasons for not liking Man of Steel, as Tom had pretty much covered it in his email. I just didn't like it. There was nothing specifically I can pick out. It just didn't make me feel meh. I've been thinking about it though, and I think all the anger towards the film is just because people wanted more from it. And now to preempt, Scott, what more did they want? I don't know. I just work in a factory. I'm not a writer. However, I do feel that maybe, as this was written as first in the series films that audience pick up on, and perhaps it felt incomplete to them. Although I think we can all agree, though, Frozen did the whole conceal, don't feel a bit better. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's fine. I like those responses because it's kind of, I don't know why I didn't like it, but they're not saying it's crap. It's just it didn't grab them, and I think I get that. I get the it's boring debate.
Yeah.
I get the it just didn't do it, and I also get the Kevin Costner was not quite used to potentially how much he could. I get that. I get the average, and it was me who brought up this conversation. Remember, because I'm kind of on the fence in a way. I think it's good. It's fine. I just don't get the hatred for it. And I think to conclude on this whole thing, for me, it just didn't hit some people. It didn't grab them. It didn't quite get where it wanted to. And I think that's fair enough, personally.
I just it's completely fine if it didn't grab most people, and if most people can't quite define what's wrong, it's a failure of the film. Just no one's quite hit the nail of what that is. That's all fine. I just don't like this weirdly revised narrative that it was somehow bad or not successful, because both those things aren't true. It was divisive. A lot of people are meh, and a lot of people like it, and the meh ones decided it's terrible over time. Same thing happened with Dark Knight Rises. It was really divisive. Everyone made out it was disappointing and stuff. Man of Steel was as successful as half the Marvel films.
I think as well, it was a bit frustrating in the year that Man of Steel came out that it was divisive, but then everyone sung Thor 2's praises. Yet, down the line, everyone doesn't sing Thor 2's praises. And that's what I find bizarre to me.
will fight this to my dying day. It was the best film of that year, superhero-wise.
What was the other one?
Iron Man 3, 4, 2, and X-Men... No, was it?
No, there wasn't an X-Men. First Class was the year before.
2013.
Yeah, I think it was Iron Man 3, that.
I think there were 4, but I can't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. Kick-Ass 2, probably. Yeah. Easy. I'll fight that forever.
So there we are, that's concluded that. Thank you for everyone who sent their views, and we really enjoyed looking at those over the past few weeks. We have been Weekly Geek Speak. We will be back next Monday. Not Friday, Monday, because we're just rejigging our calendar, and it'll be our 100th episode. We'll be the big 100. We'll be old. We'll get a letter from the Queen, and we'll be all very, very crambly. So do join us, and if you do enjoy listening to us, please do subscribe. iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, and Podcast Line. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube.
Please, and I don't know if this is a bit beggy, but if you can leave a review on one of those places, it boosts our spirits, and it's very quick to do. And
we do appreciate every interaction we get. Please continue. Tell your friends, please. Get us out there a bit. We would love to hear from more of you, and we're hoping to bring you some more exciting things in the next 100 episodes. We'll be back with you next week.
Oh God, that's a commitment.
Whoa.
Remember
who you are.
Who you are.
Look hard. He lives in you. You are the moon. What does he say?
Everything the light touches. One day. What about that?
What about the dark bit? I'm going to go there. Bye.
In a bit.
What does that make you? A monkey's uncle.
You don't need a reason to
no,
there is no reason.
There's no reason.
I was until that little furball was born. No. That furball is my son.